PPP, what role were they playing in all this? There were voices of protection.
Yes, there were voices of protest. PPP has utilized their base in Shimabel, the long sugar strike. I suspect was a way of dealing with the government today. But I suspect that PPP always have to be careful because of how the racial dynamics were, because the PPP was seen as Indian-dominated political party. So they had to be careful how they launch out to do some of the political activism and work.
Okay, but help me to understand that, because the PNC was Negro-dominated.
Yes.
So what was wrong with the PPP being Negro, Indian-dominated? When did the PNC, apart from controlling the instruments of balance, this is one government does control the instruments of balance, what was the difference? Well, because the PNC did not have to be careful, but the PPP had to be. Because one party controlled the instruments of balance.
The PNC was in power.
But that's the explanation. They control the instruments of balance.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Great. Mr. Hamilton, do you know whether Rabbi Washington and the PNC maintained a relationship even after President Burnham would have left, would have died?
The relationship before Burnham died in August of 1985. And by the end of 85, when President Rodney became president, there were whispers coming out of the PNC from sources about the new president will attempt to put the House in his place, the relationship that existed for him had to be discontinued. And so by June, July of 86, when there were investigations.
Mr. Chairman, are we to understand that we have decided to extend the terms of reference to the Commission of Inquiry?
Just drop this in the back line, and we were there about 1986. I think that there are going to be quite upside down.
Okay, please, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Chair, I just wonder if there is not some utility in discovering whether there's a difference between the approach of the regime of the period with which we're concerned and the following period. To that extent, I urge the Commission to consider that the answers could be random. I'm not saying they are, but they could.
Probably
But if that's the case, I object to that. So if that's the case, I don't have a problem comparing that era with the present era. So we can't stop at the extent we have to come and make the comparisons between the border regime and the PPP regime today.
But that's not, you may wish that, but that's not the terms of reference.
But that's what I'm saying in terms of
I
reference.
could understand you say that, but that's not the terms of
But
reference.
1986 is not the terms of reference either. It stopped in 1980.
I think that we've covered that previously.
At this time, then, I would respectfully have no further questions for Ms. Hamilton, unless the Commission passing on.
I just have two questions, Mr. Chair, which I want to comment. Because it has come up over and over again, and maybe well known to Ghanaians. But I think it will be useful to record, if not through this witness, through another witness, what was the distribution of the population ethnically at the time? We keep mentioning Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese. How was the population distributed between these two groups? Was there a majority? Was there a great majority?
At the time, the Indian population was Muslim.
Pardon me?
At the time, the Indian population was Muslim.
Madam Commissioner, that is an important question, and maybe the Commission staff can be directed to get the statistics if it's available.
Yeah, I think so. My memory was that there were what, 55% of the population Hindu and
Somewhere in the 50s.
Yes, I think it's important to get it on the record, but I would statistically as a clinical fact, but I also wanted to have in regard to this witness's evidence and other witnesses before, what was the perception within the population, which may have also contributed to how the people thought. So thanks for that answer. But in addition to that, just a small question. You said there were 2 bombings of the House of Israel.
No, there were 1 bombing, 2 bombs.
1 bombing, 2 bombs. Was there substantial physical damage? Was anybody injured?
No one was injured. One of the bombs exploded, the other did. Apparently it was set for 1 to 3 hours.
And may I ask, do you know if in the course of the police investigation there was an analysis of the type of explosive or the way the bomb was triggered? Do you know if any of this was
No,
there?
what I can say is that the one that was not exploded seems to be to have, I think it's a gas cylinder that you have behind the fridge. I think that the one that did not explode was one of the small gas cylinders. The one that exploded was a larger gas cylinder, and that caused damage to the building parts of it, but no one was injured.
Can you remind us, I hope I'm not repeating myself, Mr. Williams, what year this was?
That will have to be sometime with the last half of 1979.
And are you able to say, in terms of the training received, did it involve detonation of bombs by remote control, the training which members of your organization received from Mr. McAllister?
No, it did not reach that.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to wait till you're finished, Mr. Rachel.
No, you go right ahead, please.
Now, since there have been substantial evidence then about this bombing at the House of Israel's office, I trust that the Commission will be requesting documents from the Guyana Police Force in respect to the particular incident in question, so that it could be determined whether or not that corroborates what the witness says in evidence.
All right, I'll take a note. Thank you. You are the day of council, Commissioner Council.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bosworth.
Chair,
I
worked with friend, Mr. Williams, and deeply. And he enforced about first all the time. So I just want to indicate to the chair that I am available if
That's in context. I said I will not go first when it is his witness. He is representing the family of the deceased was Rodney. The other witness is representing Dr. Rodney, and another witness is representing the WPA. They are targeting the PNC. So I will not go first. Whenever those witnesses are really the witnesses of my lawyer friends. That's the indication. And my left hand had no problem whatsoever with me leaving out before. I don't know if it's what happens to this one today.
please, chair, just offer my has been consistent. That's all.
That's all right.
Are you licensed that against confidence of seeing you about it first?
I won't go so far as to say that. My lawyer friends are QC, so he said that.
Please proceed.
Yes. Now, Mr. Hamilton, when you gave your evidence yesterday, so to speak in chief, you didn't state your occupation.
You were not here. I'm sure the question was asked and answered.
Which was what? Pardon me? What was the answer?
I said the question was asked and answered.
Pardon?
I think he said it was a parliamentary secretary of the Ministry of Health.
Yes, I'm giving a kit also on the PPP state. He's a member of PPP in the parliament. PPP parliamentary secretary.
Not so long ago, I said.
That's the point.
I said not so long ago I gave to an answer to Mr. Jairam.
Well, my question is that I'm the issue and
I am a member of parliament of the PPC presently from 2012.
Mr. Chairman, I'm questioning this witness, and I hope the witness understands the yes. Voluntarily to talk to the council. He's my witness now. I'm saying to you that yesterday when you gave your evidence, you never indicated you were a member of the PPP party.
I am not a member of the PPP party.
When you're a member of the PPP in parliament.
No, I'm not a member of the PPP in parliament.
So whose slate are you and whose list are you representing in
I'm a
parliament?
member of the PPP slate, not the PPP.
What?
I am a member of the PPP slate in parliament and not a member of PPP.
But that's the question I asked you, which slate you're representing in parliament? Now, what is the problem? Are you ashamed to say that you're a member of the PPP?
I said if I'm a member of the PPP, I said no. You asked if I'm a PPP.
Mr. Ahmed, did you answer my question?
You asked if I'm a PPP member of parliament, I said no.
Yes, sir.
I said I am a member of parliament of the PPPC. There we gone past that already. We gone past that. I just want to clarify that.
Are you ashamed to say you're a member of the PPP?
I could not be ashamed when I answer the question.
I don't know that that is relevant to our terms of the record. I say not of interest to domestic politics.
Pardon me, sir?
Well, I don't know that that is relevant for what purpose.
What is relevant, sir?
Or whether he is of a PPP slate or not slate. We were concerned about getting his testimony. The question that you are answering is relevant to the domestic politics.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to disagree with you.
Okay.
Now, I'm surprised you say after this witness has revealed the word about PNC that you're saying when he's PPP is not relevant.
Okay, but he's answered.
Are you supposed to put his credibility?
You proceed. You proceed.
Am I not supposed to show you why he's coming and saying all of this?
Well, you asked him this question.
Sir, I don't understand that. They're going to keep dealing with me. Now, so you're on the PPP slate.
I am on the PPPC slate.
Yes. And you got an estate in the parliament, you started representing the parliament.
2012, early 2012.
Now, where are you standing? Where are you standing here in that box? And in light of the evidence that you have given, would you agree with me you're standing in the capacity of what the popularly is called a snitch?
I don't know what it means, so help us.
No, but you understood what I said.
I also don't know what it means.
You don't know what it means to be a snitch?
I don't.
Okay, let me see this again. Would you agree that you would be what is termed a whistleblower?
Yes, yes.
Or you prefer that?
Yes, yes, they're also.
But when you're a whistleblower snitch, it means that you are betraying loyalties.
I am. I thought it was my moral duty as a citizen of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana to come to the Commission of Inquiry investigating the Walter Rodney death and to speak to the citizens of Guyana and to the Commission about my activities in an organization that participated in terrorizing opposition persons in this country. If you interpret it as a snitch, as a whistleblower, as dishonorable, that is your problem. I am saying, I thought it was my moral duty as a citizen of this country, and all the citizens who would have had the opportunity to bring information to the commission, and therefore, for me,
Now,
Mr. Williams, if I may. Mr. Williams, if I may.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. The sponsors of this commission, I think, recognize the dilemma which some persons would consider that they face if they appear to give evidence, and particularly bore that in mind in formulating the term of reference. And I'm sure you are very familiar with the very last sentence in the term of reference, which anticipates that even persons who would have been guilty of carrying out acts which could amount to a crime should be encouraged to give evidence to be of assistance to this commission. And that is why it refers to granting an absolute pardon in respect of incidental, or incidental to all acts or things done, including offenses committed in connection with or in relation to the death. And the reason why I'm emphasizing it is because, with the chairman's permission, this is a public inquiry, and I would not wish anyone else listening to feel disinclined or inhibited in coming forward to assist this commission. So I just thought I would pause.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Commissioner, are you saying that, in your opinion, this witness needs an amnesty for crimes committed?
I am indicating that the language which you have used is something which was anticipated by the sponsors of this commission. I am not concluding anything at this stage, if I may. I am not coming to any conclusion at this stage because we are still hearing evidence, and the time will come when we have to conclude and make a report. But I'm not at that stage now. I'm just pointing out to the public, whether here or elsewhere, hearing what the terms of reference are, and to encourage persons to continue to show an interest and to cooperate. Thank you.
We have invaded against the commissioners in respect of the terms of reference. We attacked the president in terms of his terms of reference. But I thank you for reminding me about one that we also have a difficulty with. But I want to continue my cross-examination of the witness. I trust that we can proceed smoothly. Yes. You said that you thought that you were doing it at this time. My question to you is this. Why didn't you go to do it all those years ago? Why didn't you make a disclosure about what you say now today all those years ago?
because the opportunity never presented itself. This is the opportune moment.
What you say? You thinking about amnesty?
I said the opportunity never presented itself to me.
Really?
This is the opportunity.
Okay, now let's continue. You don't hold royalties too long in the political arena, do you?
I don't know that that is the appropriate question to ask.
Mr. Chairman, he has given us that he was in the PNC. He's given us that he was in the House, but he didn't know what time he left it. He told you that he left the PNC, he's now with PPP. Mr. Chairman, could I be allowed to cross-examine this witness?
If you want to go directly to the witness at every stage that his testimony was colored by a particular involvement, I'll put that to it. But,
Mr. Chairman, the evidence on the record is that he has been in these organizations. Could I be allowed to question his connection and commitment to these organizations?
yeah, but provided that it's related to the testimony.
But I am instructed that what he has said to you and the world is untrue.
Good, you put that.
So I have to give his credibility.
No, you are suggesting that everything that he says is untrue.
Mr. Chairman, yes. I am sure you will bring your information. Yes, if I make it not to continue. Yes, let's trace where you were. You began with House of Israel.
I began the House of Israel.
Yeah, you said you started with the House of Israel. That's in this Commission of Inquiry. You testified that you got involved at the age of 23 with the House of Israel. Is that correct?
According to my statement, that's correct.
Now, you said you weren't sure when your membership ceased in that organization. Do you recall telling us that?
No, what I said is that, as I recall, was sometime in December. I stopped participating in activities. But when I returned to them, I still optimistic. Have relationships with persons who are members of those and families who are members.
That's not my question to you. I'm talking about when your relationship, your membership ceased with the House of Israel.
The answer that we have twice on record is he's not sure when precisely the membership ceased with the House of Israel. I think he said he believed that sometime after he came back in 79, is that correct?
No, he came back in 1991.
And 91, sorry, 91.
No, I don't forget. I remember everything, especially this situation. So, that's specifically allow me to deal with the witness. I have pretty much conversed with what he said. So I'm asking him, and since you mentioned it, were you a member after 1991?
No.
No?
No.
You said in the PNC you were here for when as a member of parliament?
97, 98,
From 98 to when?
98.
98 to when?
When what?
So when were you a member of parliament for PNC? What was the period?
There were two periods.
But I asked you what it was.
98 to sometime 2001, I suppose, and the next time in 2006.
Okay, now, when you were a PNC MP, before you took an answer of April 7, 2000, did you say these words? So, what I am asking the PPP civil government to do seriously is that they must cleanse their hands.
Could you please go for me? Because I don't have a copy.
No, I will open copies.
Do you order from Hansel of what day?
I give it the April 7th.
It was that what we thought.
I don't copy, as usual. So what I'm asking the PPPC government is to do seriously is that they must cleanse their hands. Applause. Say to us, and say to this nation this evening, that you are prepared to clean your hands. You must cleanse your hands of discrimination. Applause. You must cleanse your hands of racism. Applause. You must cleanse your hands of corruption. Applause. You must cleanse your hands of all the injustice perpetrated on the Chinese people. Applause. Do you recall saying this in Parliament?
No, I can't recall, but
I could have said that. Could have said it. But I'm suggesting to you that this was your presentation on April 7, 2000 in the Guyana National Assembly. And this was your opinion on the present government that you just entered into the parliament to represent.
if that is the answer that is factual, that would be the factual position at the time that I spoke.
So, with this type of criticism, are you saying from where we sit now You have no difficulty joining those ranks. That's not unclean, according to you, in every respect.
If I have no difficulty joining which
Satan and
presently I have no difficulty representing the party I represent the party.
that's what I thought. I don't know if you got it quietly, I'm not sure. So, I have a couple more to read and then I said, last couple.
But Mr. Williams, you know I recognize you as an experienced officer.
Yes, sir.
How are you relating what you're doing to the period we are investigating?
So we're going to the credibility of the witness. This is a witness we're saying to you is prepared to do anything.
But politics of itself is a dynamic human interaction, and people are entitled to have different affiliation at different times.
No, people
But in 2007, our period is 1978 to 1980. We have gone through a political metamorphosis and changed his views and
But should the listeners already know that Commissioner diagram? The listeners should just hear Mr. Anton come into the box and say everything was Mr. Diagram.
No, but
Whose person he was.
are you saying because he has changed his political patronage or loyalty or affiliation that somehow his credibility for the period is affected?
Yes, that's one factor only when you hear the rest. You also agree with me. That's just one factor. Because he's called names. He has called the name of the former leader of the opposition, the leader of the PNC, with whom he worked with. And I will be able to show you why he did that. I don't know what he called my name. I didn't remember that.
You may have to take this stand
For what? I was there all around during that period.
to testify.
And I was just showing you the motivation. Yes. You also said in the same presentation, before I told Mr. Moses Nakutu, he said that the people had problems before PPP. Yes, I concede. But what has happened in the last 7 years is that the PPP saving rapidly have added to those problems that the people had. That is the problem. We are not saying that they weren't problems. What we are saying is that in a matter of 7 years, you have added more problems than we could have ever imagined the PNC, as you say, added to this nation in 28 years. That was the problem. That is what we are saying about. Are you familiar with the words of your presentation in 2007?
Again, could have been that was my opinion at the time.
But it's nothing to do with that. That's what we make with you and your opinion at the time. So you're in the ranks of the PNC balling out the PPP. You mentioned
I think we may be more attracted to a question in which tries to demonstrate that the evidence is inaccurate.
yes.
But just to put labels on where he was when he gave it might not be terribly impressive, but that the analysis is false.
Mr. Chairman, you know I regard you in high esteem. As a lawyer. As a lawyer. But you're not very real. I mean, your permission, I don't have that knowledge that you think I have some experience. Now, you told us about the House of Israel first for the PNC, first for the PPP. Is there any reason why you didn't tell us about your service in the GTG, serving as a city councillor of the city of Georgetown?
Somewhere in my statement, when I was speaking about the civilians, I mentioned the paragraph 20.
You said you were a member of GTG?
Yes,
Paragraph city councillor?
No, I'm saying in paragraph 20, I spoke to working with the GTG, work together in the GTG and campaigning.
Did you say you were as city council?
No, I didn't. No,
Well, that's my specific question.
no, I didn't. I didn't.
I'm not sure why you don't want to answer the
I
question.
didn't thought it was relevant to the time. So
You did not, you
yes, I was city
you speak
council
about your representation
from 1994 to 1997.
Right, that's relevant. And who was the head of the GTG?
Mr. Hamilton Green.
And is that why you didn't want to tell us that? Because you were attacking Mr. Hamilton Green in the testimony in this commission.
I think that maybe, I think mentions Mr. Hamilton Green.
Sir, this does not in any manner or form convey that the witness was a member of the GTG and in fact represented the GTG as a city councillor with the mayor and city councillors of Georgetown. And I believe that as commissioners, this information will be important and relevant to you because he represented the GTG from 1994 to 1997 until there was a falling out with Hamilton Green.
That is the role of all the council. It's the realm of authority. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to get from him, sir, why you didn't disclose that. Could you tell us, why didn't you disclose that you were city council to the GTG, to the Medicine Council of Georgetown?
I didn't thought it was relevant.
You think that was relevant? Well, you mentioned the leader name, you didn't have the GTG's name here all the time?
I didn't thought that it was.
Okay. So now that we have all the organizations, at least the relevant ones that you were politically involved in, let me put it to you that you had fallen out with Mr. Hamilton Green. That's why he left the
That is absolutely untrue. I resigned from the GTG. I had no falling out with Mr. Hamilton Green. I resigned from the GTG. And I resigned from the parliament the same time I resigned from the council. I resigned from the council the same
And
time.
for putting it to you was because of the bitterness you have for your erstwhile political boss that you come here now to get false evidence against him.
I have my evidence that I've given you is evidence of things that I know transpired that I participated in a period when I served in an organization. It has nothing to do with erstwhile boss. It has nothing to do with UPC. It has to do with Hamilton coming here at this opportune moment to speak to the commission about a period in an organization belonged to terrorized persons who were opposing the government.
Council wasn't sure to whom they were referring by the mention in terms of political boss.
Hamilton
Hamilton Green.
Yes, he was the head of the GTG.
That made him political boss. I thought his political boss would be the boss of the party with which he belonged.
That was a party, GTG is a party. It was a party of the Lowry Council.
Oh, I thought it was a city corporation.
No, sir.
Who's green in both name and age?
It's good and green. Yeah, GTG. You could probably supply some more information on that. But let's go down to, I'm putting it to you that you also had a falling out with the former leader of the People's National Congress, Mr. Robert Corbyn. That's why you're also bearing false testimony against him.
I have no falling out with Mr. Robert Corbyn. The sequence of events of me removing myself in the PNC is this. In 2007, June, July, some executives of the People's National Congress reform went to Mr. Corbyn and informed
No, they didn't ask the
No, I'm telling you there was no falling out.
You want to start more business up? That's what you give
There was no falling out. You're attempting to suggest that there was a falling out. I'm saying I removed myself from the PNC in 2007 July.
I put it to you.
Mr. Hamilton, don't allow yourself to. Listen to the questions and answers best.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Hamilton, that election that you said you last participated in PNC, that was the election of 2006.
Yes.
And what role you played in that machinery?
I was primarily involved in electoral matters because of
What was its designation?
my technical skill. I had, being, as I recall, the chief scrutineer of the PNC at that time.
I didn't get the word chief.
The chief scrutineer
Thank you.
at the time.
And then after the scrutineer process was finished, what was the next designation?
I cannot recall any other designation in the PNC. I know I was an executive member. I know I was a chief scrutineer. I don't know about any other designation in the PNC after being its chief scrutineer in 2006.
And an election they were translated into?
On election day, what
The
translated?
chief scrutineer.
Paying attention to returns that were coming in, helping with the computerized system to calculate votes, paying attention to statements of polls and those kinds of
What was the name given to the person who's representing the party election day, authorizing him to enter any police station and be any part of the country?
I suspect the candidate or I suspect the representative of the list, if my memory, that is the one who's allowed to visit any polling station. As I recall, I think the representative of the list, I know people who have specific geographic member of parliament, they're allowed to visit polling stations.
All right. You will agree or you will consider one of our expert electoral persons.
Yes.
Like how do you mean the PNC?
Yes. Now, having, according to you, having a role like that in the elections, you would have expected that your name would have been abstracted as a candidate, as a member of parliament.
I don't know in politics, for persons who have sojourned in politics, there are no expectations. If you have expectations,
I'm asking, but you,
so I had no such expectation.
But you agree that your name was not abstracted for you to enter into the parliament as a member of parliament for the PNC.
Yes, that's right.
And you know that you are very bitter about that.
No, I was not bitter.
Yes.
And to inform you, the conversation at the time I was having with Mr. Corbett is to be appointed Commissioner at the Elections Commission because there was a vacancy. So there was no conversation. There was no intention to extract money because there was a vacancy. And the conversation I was having with him is that Hamilton would replace, I think, Mr. Paris, who had resigned. So there was an expectation of me going to Parliament.
Is it not true that you did not make the parliament because of your neglect to do your duty, certainly on election day?
I can't recall hearing that, knowing that, having such a conversation with the leadership. And with the leader or the executive.
Mr. Corbyn and you he had a falling out with you because of that.
Well, Mr. Corbyn might have had a falling out with me.
Well,
I have no falling out with Mr. Corbyn.
That's he kept out the parliament.
Yes,
madam.
Just a minute, you're needed to do your duty.
On the polling day.
Okay.
Now, which was, as you were describing earlier, anticipated to be getting up out of Congress place and going and visit the various polling stations throughout the country in the various constituencies. Isn't that so?
The first thing, Commissioners, Mr. Williams, what he's talking about is impractical and impossible for any political person in Guyana to visit every region and every polling station in this country on election day. There are over 2,000 polling stations, some in the mountains, some in the valleys, some in the hills, some in the rivers. No politician ever in Guyana was able or is able to visit every polling station in the country. First of all. Second issue is that because of my technical competence, my role was not to visit polling stations. My role was to pay attention to the information technology area and to collate and tabulate and to advise what are the assumptions based on the pattern voting. So Mr. Williams is...
Our only concern here is to establish the relevance of that to the
But you're going to why he's come here and basically give false testimony against some leaders in this country and you know, scandalize them. Because it is a bitterness.
But that's the beginning there. So then you said X suggested to you that you were not speaking the truth and you were scandalizing the witness for one particular reason.
Yes, but I'm giving you the background to show why he did it.
Okay, I think we have enough background now.
Alright, so I put that to him. I'm not talking about him going to visit any polling station. Everyone had the relevant constituency make a vote. But what according to you is that instead of going up to the Congress place and visiting the various polling stations in your remit, you sat in there and you put on the desk. So don't do anything. That's what you did. They put that to you.
Again, let me say, you couldn't put that to me.
No, he is put it to you.
No,
What he suggested that to you.
No, it's
So I agree with his
the suggestion is absurd, Mr. Chairman, because I'm saying to you and I read to you, my role ever since 1997 on elections delegates was never to run around visiting polling stations. It was to pay attention to the information.
Okay, we have that.
So what Mr. Williams is saying is absurd. Could not be. Because in 1997, 2001, and the same role I was to play in 2006.
Yeah, but we're still at a loss to understand how that is related to the evidence you gave.
Yes, sir, that's why they go into parliament. Because the representative of the list was Mr. Robert Orlando Hawley.
How is that related?
He did not abstract him, so he's better against him. That's what it is. And I'm going to go into the interstitial of his evidence, you'll see what he's saying.
I don't remember giving any evidence against Mr. Coffey. Directly.
What? Mr. Chairman, that's why you seem to be challenging me. He has. The only evidence, in fact, is headlines in the papers. It's very scandalous. Yes. I'm sorry, sir, if you want to.
You want this to go ahead.
I need a little clarification from Mr. Hamilton. What was your expertise? Is it statistics, computer?
Information technology.
Information technology.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, before I go to the evidence diary, when I ask you, why is it in your statement you included Pastor Williams?
Because I wanted to,
Is it relevant to the terms of reference?
I wanted to make a point, Mr. Chair.
No, let me ask my question. Is it relevant to the terms of reference to this commission? That's what I'm asking.
Is it relevant to the terms of reference?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
My interpretation, I will say yes.
What is your interpretation?
That it is relevant.
The terms of reference at least take us from 78 to 80. Is it relevant in that period? Are you saying Pastor Williams was an actor during that period? Or an equal actor or otherwise?
I am saying and attempting to say, if you will listen, I wanted to put before the commission that there was a relationship with the House of Israel leadership and the PNC leadership, and I wanted to, recognizing the narrowness of the period, I wanted to put on record that even after Rabbi Washington came out of prison in 93, there was a rekindling of a relationship. Firstly, and Mr. Williams, as I indicated, he would have participated because the House of Israel members participated in the activities of the GGG campaign, of which Mr. Williams was an executive member. So he would have worked with House of Israel people in 94 to
Mr. Hamilton, my question to you still is, why did you include in your statement the name Pastor Williams, and where it is relevant to the terms of reference, you speak to 1978 to 1980.
I am saying yes, my interpretation is that it is relevant.
Mr. Chairman, I'll show you the reason why you included it. Now, that's what I'm about to say.
It's not relevant
If
because
it's relevant,
I didn't know that you were something that is not referring to.
well, that's what we want to know. Now, when you say Pastor Williams, who you're referring to? You got to know Pastor Williams. Who are you referring to?
Say that again.
This Pastor Williams you got to know. Who was it you referring to?
I am referring to Attorney Basil Williams.
No.
Is he present? No.
Who is present?
No. You said you, a deacon and priest, were introduced to me by the rabbi. Now, you said I was a company of Brian Lynch.
Yes.
So who was Brian Lynch to me?
Brian Lynch was a businessman who...
Who was Brian Lynch to me?
Brian Lynch, I couldn't say what Brian Lynch was to you. I know you were in the company of Brian Lynch.
I was.
Yes.
Now, was the Brian Lynch my client?
You, some weeks ago, if you recall. In the
I'm just asking yes or no. If you remember this, I'm asking you a question. Was Brian Lynch my client?
I'm saying you informed me several weeks ago in the Parliament building's balcony that Brian Lynch was your
You
client.
didn't have to inform me whether you knew that.
No, I didn't.
Now, where was Brian Lynch building in relation to your temple, House of Israel temple?
Obliquely.
Obliquely? Where is it?
Brian Lynch is at the corner, and House of Israel Temple is at the corner.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, remember you said both the temple and the head office were situated at that building in Lancaster Street.
Yes.
And remember you said you removed the office, so what was it, Kingston or African or something? Where was it removed to?
In 1999.
Ah.
299 Thomas.
Pardon me?
299 Thomas.
Yes. Now, is it not true that the House of Israel wanted to purchase that building from Mr. Lynch?
I indicated in my statement that I know Mr. Lynch was a business associate of,
Could you answer my question, yes or no?
of Rabbi Washington. I didn't know the details. I didn't know that they were.
That the house investors wanted to purchase Mr. Lynch's building so that he could use it as his head office.
Might have been, I can't recall.
And I'm saying to you that I was Brian Lynch's lawyer in relation to the sale of his building.
That might have been.
But you knew that. If you say
No, I did not.
you would know that.
I know there was a business arrangement.
Now, let's move on. Now, if I'm acting as a lawyer in private practice, I'm suggesting to you that you could not have met me between 1978 and 1983.
If you note, I did not put a timeline on when I met you.
You did. You said I was introduced by Robert Washington to Maximilian. The relationship continued until after 1999. The introduction was done sometime early 80s.
We are reading from his oral testimony.
From his testimony today.
Oral testimony.
Yes, it's evidence.
I saw him roughly into his paper.
No, I don't know what you said today.
Getting him to the referred.
Today he's saying he
I
was
recall that.
sometimes early 80s. You have that?
Sometime,
You said sometime early in the 80s. It could be either before the death of Rodney or after. Yes. But the point of the fact is, if I were Mr. Brian Lynch, I would be Mr. Brian Lynch as his lawyer. So I'm saying to you, I was not a lawyer. At $80,000 before 1980.
I never indicated as to what was your relationship with Mr. Lynch at the time. I did not.
Florida, I was not a lawyer before 1983.
I'm saying to you again, I could not and did not indicate you in the company of Mr. Lynch what you were at that time.
Florida, put to you, Pastor Williams never knew Rabbi Washington before the 90s. I'm putting that to you.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. But you were every meeting with him, with everybody. Only God, you weren't really meeting with God.
I never said I was a very meeting.
I'm not sure that any of that is ethical.
Sir, if he's using the name, I have to show that he's maliciously putting the name here. Yes. He's maliciously putting the name and all the evidence I give. Because Pastor Williams is never a lawyer in private practice for the most of the 1980s.
Mr. Williams, you are not the subject of inquiry.
Sir, you have my name here.
You don't propose to make any findings about you?
No, sir. But sir, there's a danger of you. If somebody comes into this thing and call your name, you go to tell him you got to wait until you have this up. But it's not true. It's not true. But we have to show credibility, sir. Why would you have to encourage a witness to come to your commission of inquiry to speak on truth?
I'm certainly not encouraging it now, but we can't catch that.
You have an opportunity to get direct evidence here. Mr. Carter is not here. Pastor Williams is here, and I'm asking him.
You are not a subject of inquiry.
Sir, he left. Sir, Mr. Chairman, I'm not understanding. Could you bear with me? I don't know what people are listening to this. If this witness is called the name of a lawyer and trying to suggest that he had the linkages with the rabbi or whatever his name was, is that important? I'm saying to him, I never knew him.
Brian Lynch was a business associate of Washington.
I don't know what I don't care about.
He said you being an associate.
They said Rabbi introduced me to him. I never met him. I never met nobody like him. Not until around 1994 when GGG had its elections. So it is a blatant lie.
I only have before me the statement.
So that's why you process that law. You have
also the
so you have a book like this. It's not equivalent to statement. I'm putting it to you that I never knew him in my life. I put it to him. I never knew him in my life before the 1994 city council elections.
Suppose he didn't know you didn't know anybody knew.
No, you said he was introduced to me. It could not be. I was not a lawyer practicing then. Are you aware that Master Williams was not a lawyer until 1983?
I am not aware when he became a lawyer.
Are you aware that when Master Williams came up as a lawyer, his first appointment was legal assistant to President Bonham? Were you aware of that?
I have heard that from you.
And then he continued with President White.
I have heard that from you.
And do you know that he did not leave office as president until 1988?
I have heard that from you.
So,
Mr. Williams, apart from displaying your curriculum vitae,
Mr. Chairman, I'm asking you to invoke proceedings for forgery.
how is that enough?
Because it's a blatant lie.
Okay, but please get on.
So I'm serious about this matter. The witness has lied. It's a blatant lie.
Are you going to give evidence to contradict him? Because you're saying that is a negative lie, but I think
I will open the witness knows that he never, there was no private practice until the 90s.
that does not help us, Mr. Williams, please proceed.
So you don't believe that right with this statement?
It does not help us to believe or disbelieve it. It is not relevant.
And so I put it to you, that is a lie that you were introduced to me by the rabbi. What is that?
That is not enough.
And we then be going to the other lies now. I just wanted to get rid of the personal attack. And I put it to you that what you have just done here is a PPP tactic. A long-hand PPP tactic. And that tactic is to try to attack the messenger. Because if you and me here representing the PNC, when they thought it was a WPA,
Can we just take one question at a time? The question is that what you have just done here is a PPP tactic. Can we have an answer from you witness, yes or no?
No.
Thank you, Rodney. What's the next question?
I'm definitely very man. I'm saying that they put it out to you because you have this tactic of attacking the messenger. You're attacking the messenger. I'm the lead counsel for the PNC, so you want to attack me, you attack me in the papers ever since. Let's say started.
And I got that question. Could the witness please answer that question? That you have this tactic of attacking the messenger who is the lead counsel for the
PPP tactic.
The PPP tactic. What is your answer? Is it yes or no, sir?
I don't know that I have a tactic as Mr. Williams.
So you're denying that?
PPP tactic, not you.
And
You are,
it is my tactic to repeat that. It is my tactic to repeat that.
it's a PPP tactic. I said you're executing.
No,
You have no choice.
I said no.
Next question.
Now let me put it to you. Do you agree that if you had produced these pictures to this commission of inquiry, they will confirm the presence of all those persons we spoke about?
Yes, I agree.
So, why would you come and tell us you destroyed the pictures?
Because we're dealing with 1979, 1980. It was a view of the leadership of the House of Israel at that time. that those pictures were damaging, and so we destroyed them. Who had any insight that in 2014 there would be a commission of inquiry to present pictures?
Who?
I don't think anyone in this room.
But there was an inquest in 1988.
That
There was an inquest in 1988 into the death of Dr. Rodney.
the pictures never have anything to do with the death of water. The pictures in question I spoke is on the day of the 7th of July, 1979, when Father Dar was killed.
So that's going to be relevant. So how is it relevant here? Would it have been relevant at the inquest, which was even earlier in time than now?
In my statement, I am trying to outline, and I outline the activities of the observation. In this specific instance, I outlined an activity of a specific day that nationally people recognize. They have nothing to do with Dr. Rodney and his death. He was not there yet.
Okay, the next question, so I think we understand that.
Now, you said there were thousands of people that day there for dance taking pictures.
Yes.
And you in fact put it to a narrow compass between Breakdown Police Station and substantial assault.
No, I never did. I said the crowd was converging from Regent Street to Breakdown, stretching back to the Midlands. Therefore, you have difficulty getting transported, getting cars.
No, that's not my question to you.
I am saying,
My question to you is what you related
yes,
in where you are.
yes.
That there was a concentration of the crowd between Breakdown Police Station and substantial assault. Do you recall telling us that?
No, I recall saying that when I got to Georgetown, when I got into the prison, there was a concentration of the crowd from Regent Street going back to Breakdown Police Station, going back to Demigod. I recall saying that. I cannot recall saying anything about St. Stanislaus College.
Now, you were on foot. You were on foot.
If I was on foot,
Yeah, you were not in a truck, a back of a truck, or vehicle, or anything like that.
I was on foot in the prison.
No, we talking about where you said you saw Father Dar.
I was on foot on Magnet Place, somewhere in the area of Ministry of Home Affairs.
Yes. And you agree that you're not a tall man.
It was not me that he's over 5'5", but
So you have a demonstration, the witness will stand. We of course will discount for the platform that is standing on.
It will determine what he considers tall. Who's a tall man?
You are not close to 6 feet.
I am
People stand up there,
I am close to 6 feet.
I really can't see below the vest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let them come up.
I'm close to 6 feet.
No.
It's all right.
I'm a 5'10" or thereabouts.
You reckon at 5'10", you close enough to 6 feet?
I need the heels. Now, what I'm putting to you, we know the crowds, and you said it was part of confusion. I am putting it to you. That crowd that you described, thousands of people, were being packed and hemmed in, packed in, and you would not have been able to see any candidate distance ahead of you, or anytime in that problem. For that.
You were not there, and so you were not there.
Just answer the question. Was the crowd big and could you see or not see?
Yes, it was a huge crowd, but it all depends on where crowds were and where crowds were not.
Were you able to see?
Yes, I'm saying I was able to see.
I want to say that you could not have seen in any distance in that situation that he has described us.
Mr. Chair, I did not, I think the council asked me how far I was from, and I indicated that it was between here and that desk. So there was no distance, as Mr. Williams is trying to suggest. There was no distance.
But even from where you were, you could answer council's question when you saw anything happening to my James, even though you were there. You mentioned the construction of 10 times.
Council asked me about what some eyewitness wrote. I said to her, what was written by the eyewitness that I did not see.
I think the answer is like he said he saw.
No, but that's what I said for you. If a witness comes and tells us, make a statement in chief, that he saw this thing or this is what happened. If defense counsel were just to accept that statement or don't believe that we can test that statement,
Well, nobody stopped you from testing. The last question you asked, he answered the second stop.
so if our person charged the offense is in trouble. That's what the defense wants.
I'm not following them.
Not saying I'm testing him on what he's saying.
Yes, but
You were so close that you didn't see.
yes, you're testing him by a series of questions. The last one you asked, he just answered. So let's get the next one.
Yes, sir. So the next question to him is that since he was so close to Faria and Mike Smith, Mike James and couldn't see, equally, he could not have seen.
You must get one at a time, but one question.
Yeah, I bring it back on the first one. He could not have seen Robert Corbin in the crowd. With a walk, that pocket in the walk.
I never said I saw Robert Corbin in the crowd. I said the pictures that were posted, council asked me if I could describe some of the pictures. I never said that the day in question, I saw Robert Corbin.
Oh, so you're admitting that you personally never saw Robert Corbin in the crowd that day?
I never said I saw him.
Nobody asked me the question now?
No, I never
So
said
you're admitting it? Okay, so you're saying you never saw Robert Corbin in the crowd that day?
Yes,
Wait about that.
I didn't.
Mr. Williams, may I be permitted to interrupt you?
By all means.
Thank you so much. Since the question of distance has become so germane, I think we need to get on the record an estimate of the distance which he says he was from.
I got it.
Grateful to you, sir.
From where you were standing at the table,
Yes, from here too.
what about that is there?
I put it like, you done that 7 feet.
Much more than that, but that's all you.
But I put it at 10 feet.
Yes.
I was generous here.
It's a coffin and a half. It's a.
I haven't done the 10 feet in my
Warming tools.
Yeah, that's like a moment to like use that as my index office.
But in fact, he's saying that he never saw Mr. Robert Corbin in the crowd that day very long.
I never said, and I repeat, that I saw Mr. Robert Corbin in the crowd that day.
Now, so you agree it's hearsay. What you told this commission is hearsay. That we saw him, that he was seen in the crowd that day.
I was speaking about a photograph or photographs.
No, this was photograph. You said in your statement,
Which paragraph?
so you're 13. And in the middle of, you don't have to come, there's probably in the middle. And if you say,
I was informed
on the day in question, I was informed by brothers who were there from the inception of the activities that Mr. Hamilton Green and Robert Corbin were in trouble of is directed to said activities.
Yes, I'm relying on my statement.
No.
I said,
And on his hearsay, he says they was informed,
It's hearsay.
I was told that, not was informed by brothers who were there from the inception of activities, that Mr. Hamilton Green and Robert Corbin were in the crowd before talking directed the
Yes. So that's hearsay. You get the permission.
yes.
Yes. And therefore, you can't vouch for that as a fact. That Robert Corbin was in the crowd that day. Directed activities as well.
Council, would you read, skip one sentence after activities, and you will see what he said thereafter.
Yeah, very much. What is he saying there? My God, I'm testing him on it. I'm dealing with this issue. And what commissions I run as before me go is in the same levels. It's the same. Yes. So, talk to bring people in.
I'm relying on my statement.
He was not in the crowd when put it out to you. Robert Corbin was not in the crowd that day. The Green was not in the crowd that day. I put it out to you.
I am relying on my statement, where I was informed that these two gentlemen were in the crowd that night.
And you agree that that's what you say?
Yes, I'm hearing it from someone.
And you want to condemn them on that hearsay?
Say that?
You want to implicate them with hearsay? Robert Corbin and Hamilton Green.
If we get to the victim before being in the crowd.
Directing activities. They say they were in crowd simplicity, but they say they were walkie-talkies.
I will do.
Directing the said activities.
Yes. The persons who informed me, I had no reason to know them.
No, but why don't they come and give evidence themselves?
I don't know.
Everything inform me, you know, to give this thing.
No, they didn't inform me now.
Huh? Your stories are true.
They did not inform me now. I said when we went back to the airport, there were discussions about the activities. I answered that question. And at that time, that information, that's today.
I don't see that in the evidence, but
I didn't say I answered that Councilor's question.
let's move on. I'm fortunate to you that they were not talking with Rodney Washington. That he just maliciously have brought this kind of information to this commission.
What is the question?
That the Robert Corbin nor Hamilton Green was in any conversation with Rabbi Washington
Again,
at that time.
Again, I'm relying on the information provided to me
And you relying on
by
hearsay.
members of the House of Israel who were there that day and who were participants in the exercise.
And you relying on hearsay.
Yes, I'm relying on what was said to me.
You know, in everything, show your evidence. Show your evidence.